Order, order.
The Draft Procurement Act 2023, Consequential and Other Amendments Regulations 2025.
I call the Minister to move the motion.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairship for what is my first Delegated Legislation Committee meeting. I beg to move that this committee consider the Procurement Act 2023, Consequential and Other Amendments, Regulations 2025. This statutory instrument represents the final legislative step in implementing the Procurement Act 2023, which introduces a new public procurement regime responsible for over $385 billion in public contracts annually. The new regime set to come into force on the 24th of February 2025 aligns with our mission-driven approach and supports the Prime Minister's commitment to economic growth by establishing a simpler and more transparent system. In order to fully implement the Procurement Act, we must first ensure that existing procurement references in other legislation are updated to align with this new regime. These regulations make those consequential amendments, which are a routine aspect of implementing primary legislation. This statutory instrument also makes necessary updates to the schedules to the Procurement Act to ensure compliance with our international obligations. Additionally, the regulations amend Schedule 9 to the Procurement Act to update the list of specified international agreements which identify treaty state suppliers. For the purposes of the Act, these amendments will update the UK's market access coverage in our trade agreements with Ukraine, Moldova, Georgia, Kosovo, North Macedonia and Albania, removing access to contracts for healthcare services and enabling the Healthcare Services Regulations 2023, introduced in January last year, to work as intended. Further technical amendments include updating the list of central government authorities in the Procurement Act, and in addition to these technical adjustments, this instrument enhances transparency in public procurement. This instrument also updates how key performance indicators are handled in contract details and performance notices. And finally, the regulations outline how to calculate whether the sale of excess electricity, gas or water produced as a byproduct of another non-utility activity falls under the Act, where the operator wants to sell it to a network. In summary, the Procurement Act 2023, Consequential and Other Amendments, Regulations 2025 are essential to ensuring that the existing legislative framework functions as intended while facilitating a transparent, efficient and effective public procurement regime. This final legislative step in implementing the Procurement Act 2023 will strengthen the system for public procurement across the UK, benefiting businesses, taxpayers and the public sector. I hope that all honourable members will join me in supporting these regulations and approve this SI today.
The question is that the committee has considered the Draft Procurement Act 2023, Consequential and Other Amendments, Regulations 2025. Mr. Holden.
Oh, well, thank you very much indeed, Mr. Mundell, and it's a pleasure to serve under you today. And it's also a delight to be with the member for Queen's Park and Maida Vale, the Minister, who's losing her DL plates today. Oh, that's pretty good at 2 minutes notice. We will not be opposing this amendment. At the core, the Procurement Act was introduced under the Conservative government to consolidate and simplify existing procurement legislation, improve efficiencies throughout the process and improve transparency throughout the procurement pipeline. There remain a number of big challenges with public procurement, which represent hundreds of billions of pounds of public body expenditure every year, and I hope the legislation coming into force in February will help tackle these challenges. Of course, I regret the fact that the government has delayed the implementation of these measures contained within the Procurement Act, and I do hope that the government's new national procurement policy statement won't interfere with the core efficiency and cost improvement measures in the Act. I would ask the Minister when exactly we can expect the updated NPP National Procurement Policy Statement. I do also just want to briefly raise a couple of small concerns with the indications that the Government has previously sent to the measures that may be in the updated NPSS. The Labour Party's Make Work Play Plan, which sets out the most exact information we have as to the content of the updated NPSS, indicates that the new principle of procurement will be based on learning from the Wales Social Partnership Act. As the TUC has pointed out the Social Partnership Act meant that public bodies must consult and work with unions, and that attempts to shirk this duty or lock unions out from decision-making cannot be done without consequences, securing the, quote, place of trade unions as essential partners in public policy making. So I would just ask the Minister whether it is their view that the NPSS implemented through the Procurement Act will ensure that trade unions cannot be locked out of decision-making without consequence. We also know that the Government has set out its intention for the Social Value Council as in Wales, and I would appreciate some further clarity as to the expected makeup of this council. As the Minister will know, as well, the public procurement involves not just large businesses who have the capacity to maintain those stringent government social value and trade union requirements, but also lots of smaller businesses that can offer fitting and cost-effective services and products, but may not have the broader capabilities to uphold some of the tight requirements on social value and trade union recognition. Previously, the Minister of the Cabinet Office appeared to confirm to myself that the small enterprises would not be exempt from these requirements, and I would appreciate the Minister's confirmation, would be exempted from this, and just would appreciate the Minister's confirmation of this. And as I understand, as an understanding of how exactly this element will fit into the cost-saving and efficiency measures set out by the Act, of which small and medium-sized businesses can play a central role in. So anything in that direction would be appreciated. So again, I think we could all appreciate the need for public procurement reform and appreciate the Government taking forwards this work, which was initially set out under the last Conservative Government, but the Government should offer a little bit more certainty and clarity as to the extent of trade union involvement in the procurement pipeline and the extent to which the Government will preserve the potential for small and medium-sized businesses to have a fair go at the bidding process and involvement in the public procurement pipeline. But I'd be very happy to not oppose the legislation today if the Minister would write to me on those points. Thank you.
Minister to respond.
Thank you very much to the Honourable Member, and delighted to be engaging in our first, my first of these debates with you. And to the points that you set out, I think we are absolutely clear that this Act and the new National Procurement Policy Statement has to support economic growth, small and medium businesses and innovation. And I have been engaging heavily with SMEs, and the message that they have given is that they can find government procurement as it is slow, burdensome, and they often don't feel that they have a place at the table. So I believe that the changes we've made to the NPPS strengthen that commitment to small businesses is absolutely at the heart of our agenda. You reference the Employment Rights Act. Obviously, that's a different piece of legislation, not relevant to the SI today, but I actually think that decent jobs are really important in supporting economic growth. But the Procurement Act is very much focused on growth and supporting SMEs, and that is what we're taking forward, and happy to have further discussions on those other points.
The question is that the committee has considered the Draft Procurement Act 2023, Consequential and Other Amendments, Regulations 2025. As many as are of that opinion say aye. 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 Of the contrary, no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Order, order.
12 sound.